Alright, welcome back everyone to another episode on A Philosophy for Life. This one is going to be about natural law. After the past episodes were about man-made law and tried to show the absurdities of man-made law and how man-made law doesn't really qualify as law. This one is going to be about natural law, real law. And I thought a lot about how to do this. As I mentioned in the previous episodes, there's a man called Mark Passio who I think breaks down the concept of natural law more eloquently and understandable than anybody I've come across so far. And his seminar on natural law, which I can only recommend you go watch, is 8 hours long, and it already is a condensed version of basically his life's work, so to speak. And I was breaking my head about how to serve natural law in bite-sized pieces, which I guess isn't really possible. However, I'm still going to do it, because if this raises anybody's interest to go and study the topic more in depth, then the mission will have been accomplished. So I thought I'd maybe try and whet people's appetites to research the topic more thoroughly. And since Mark Passio offered all of his natural law slides up for download, I thought I'd just use those to kind of highlight a few things about natural law, which will hopefully make you interested enough to study the topic more thoroughly. So I hope this is in the interest of Mark Passio. He always says people need to talk more about these topics, so that's what I'm trying to do. I hope he doesn't mind me taking his slides. So without further ado, let's get right into natural law, or the real law of attraction, and how to apply it in your life, based on the presentation by Mark Passio of whatonearthishappening.com. That's his website. You know, we all try and live morally, and a lot of people, they have a religion, or they follow a particular religion to give them sort of the framework, the moral compass along which to live their lives. However, any religion is designed to hold you back, to thwart your progress. That's what the word religion literally means. They all give you a certain, a template, and then people hope that just by following that template and applying it to every single situation in their life, they will, be moral human beings. And in the process, they don't think for themselves anymore. They stop thinking critically, and that's why we end up having giant shouting contests, where we all just yell at each other who's right and who's wrong, and will never lead anywhere. There's a lot that tries to keep you from seeing straight in this world. Your rulers don't want you to figure life out for yourself, because it would make you independent of your rulers. And your rulers can take many different forms, but they usually are the leaders of one religion or another. And by religion, I am not only talking about the big ones, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Government is a religion. It is based on the same principle of you attributing kind of divine powers to another human being. You're attributing the power to regulate your life and to usher in the circumstances that will make you happy to another person. It sounds more worldly and materialistic because of the language that is surrounded with it, but the principle, where you give somebody else authority over your life, is the same. The New Age movement is a religion. I mean, that extreme New Age movement, which tells you there's no such thing as negativity if you don't let it touch you. If you just sit there and you can basically meditate all the evil out of this world. It's just about your mindset and kind of like your perception of things. There is no real evil, so to speak, roughly. It's just another way to keep you from taking action against evil. if it takes these extreme forms, that's a religion as well. Just as scientism can be a religion. And what I mean by scientism is not science, obviously. That's why I'm saying scientism. I'm not talking about science, one of the greatest things we have to, discover truth by applying the scientific method of observing, testing, repeating, observing, testing, repeating. That's science, and that's not what I'm talking about when I say it's a religion. I'm talking about scientism, that blind belief in whoever carries the title of a scientist and can stand there and just pontificate about absolutely absurd, unbelievable, incredible things and need not offer you any more proof than, say, a CGI image. When you have some reverence for a scientist, and they can tell you like, oh my god, we just discovered 9 new planets, and all they need to do is like slap a few CGI balls on a black screen in front of you, and you'll be like, oh my god, this is so fascinating. That is scientism. If you haven't, just accepting something without verifying it for yourself, that's when it becomes religious. A lot of people follow the religion of scientism these days as well, in a hope to give them the answers to the problems of this world. Like, it's crazy how many people these days tell me the only thing that's going to save us is either a benevolent dictator or us colonizing another planet and all leaving for it. If that's your belief, then you are religious when it comes to science, because that science is your savior in that case. So anyway, these are the religions. I mean, Mark Passio and Mark Passio also adds money to the mix. So all the religions are there to keep you from progressing. That's what the word religion literally means. It means to hold back, to thwart your progress. It comes from the Latin word religare, and that means to hold back, to bind. They're all designed to keep you from realizing true natural law, which basically states, the law of attraction basically states that, there are certain requirements that exist in order for us to obtain the things that we want. That's the simplest way of putting it, I guess. And if those conditions are not met, we will not get what we want. And that can be anything. It can be happiness, it can be peace, it can be world peace. Like, it applies on the macro and the micro level. Requirements are in place and they need to be met. And to know what these requirements are, you need to have the knowledge of what these requirements are, and that's what natural law is about. You often see this pyramid displayed to show a discrepancy in power. The people on top, the very few on top, have all the money. The masses on the bottom have none. Or the people on top have all the power. The masses on the bottom have none. And it's all valid. You can represent all of that in a pyramid. However, the true discrepancy in this world that keeps human beings from prospering, from truly being able to lead a life in freedom, is the discrepancy of knowledge. Knowledge is held by a very few on top, and it's kept from the masses, because if they had that knowledge, they would become independent of their rulers. This knowledge is occulted. It's occult knowledge, and all occult means is hidden. Through pop culture, you might have been led to believe that occult has something to do with, Satanists, the black robes, worshipping the devil, and that can be occult, but it simply means hidden, concealed from the eye. The word itself is neutral, and when I say occult knowledge, I don't mean any devil worship knowledge. I mean knowledge about the requirements that you need to meet to achieve the things you want in life, so to speak. This all you will only be curious to learn more about natural law, and I guess making changes to your life, if you think something is wrong. Obviously, a lot of people are completely happy with how things are going, so you probably you'll ask yourself, what the hell I'm even doing here? However, if you realize there is a problem in this world, a fundamental problem, something is wrong, something is keeping humanity from just living in peace and freedom, and just saying, that's how it's always been, it's simply not an answer. It's not good enough. First of all, you need to recognize there is a problem. Most people deny it, and it's mostly fear-based denial, because it would overwhelm people with, things they need to think about, they need to rethink, a lot of things they've just accepted their entire lives. It makes people afraid. So fear-based denial of the problem must first be dealt with and conquered. Recognize the symptoms are merely effects of the underlying causes. Therefore, instead of simply treating symptoms, make an accurate diagnosis of the causes of the problem. Through the knowledge acquired via accurate diagnosis, take the required action necessary to rectify the causal factors which led to the manifestation of the problem. I mean, that's simple enough. Most of the problems in this world, I guess, arise because people already don't do step one. Recognize that there is a problem. There is a difference, obviously, between truth and perception. Truth, as I said in the introductory episode already, all it means is that which is. All right? All the things that happened in the past, up until the present moment, is truth. It's a big word. It's a powerful word and concept, but it's also very simple. It means that which is. It's objective. It's not based on the perception. So truth is simply that which is. And human beings' perceptions vary. And I say, your perception is based on your consciousness. Like, the more conscious you are, the wider your perception of what is going on in the world. And I love this way of showing it, because it shows you that, the white lines are reality, and the waves are your perception. So what the blue wave shows is a person with a very high consciousness. And you can see that their perception intersects with reality far more often than the red line, which belongs to a person with a low consciousness, which means that their perception and reality only align every now and again, or in much fewer cases than the blue line. And you could also say the wavelength is longer for a person with lower consciousness than for a person with high consciousness. The higher your consciousness, the shorter your wavelength of your perception, and the more it'll basically meet with reality. And that's basically the work we have to do, certainly as an adult human being, is to bring our perception in alignment with reality. Otherwise, we are living in constant denial. It's a very simple concept, but also very powerful, I think. It's just, again, first you need to realize that we are in denial and that we are not aligned with reality. That is a problem. I've come to realize that the biggest problem anywhere in the world is that people's perceptions of reality are compulsively filtered through the screening mesh of what they want and do not want to be true. A man by the name of Travis Walton said that. That's like wishful thinking right there. And that is not obviously going to work to get a grip on reality. Mark Passio makes a case that the most prevalent religion in this world, or the most prevalent ideology in this world is an ideology called solipsism. Solipsists contend that knowledge of anything outside one's own mind is unsure, hence there is no such thing as objective truth, and nothing about the external world and its workings can actually be known. And obviously then you will never be able to talk about truth or reach any common ground when it comes to objective statements, true statements. They will just simply say, yeah, but that's all in your head. That's why you have to apply the scientific method to discover natural law for yourself. It's a highly individual process, and the changes you make to your life to better it will be completely different from the changes I had to make to my life to better it. To become a more moral person, to lose fear, to be more balanced, to not be overwhelmed, to not be made anxious by the challenges life throws in your way. It requires you to realize that there is truth. So natural law definitions: natural, meaning inherent, having a basis in nature; reality and truth, not made or caused by humankind. Law, an existing condition which is binding and immutable, cannot be changed. So, natural law, therefore, and that's the working definition presented by Mark Passio. Natural law is the universal, non-man-made, binding and immutable conditions that govern the consequences of behavior. Natural law is a body of universal spiritual laws which act as the governing dynamics of consciousness. Other cultures call it karmic law. If you're religious, call it God's law. But like the physical laws of nature, there are spiritual laws, or God's law, or karmic laws, that govern the consequences of your behavior. Another quote by Soren Kierkegaard: "There are two ways to be fooled. One is to believe what is not true. The other is to refuse to accept what is true."